My stepmom wanted to kick me out to make space for the baby. However, little did she know that I was the owner of the house, and now they are panicking. I'm a 19-year-old guy, and I've been living with my dad and stepmom for the past 3 years. Things have been tough lately, and I really need some advice. My dad got married to my stepmom when I was 16. At first, everything seemed okay. She was nice enough when we all hung out together, but I noticed she acted different when it was just the two of us. She'd make little comments about how I was lazy or not helping out enough around the house. I tried to ignore it and just do my best to stay out of her way. As time went on, things got worse. When my dad wasn't around, she'd criticize everything I did. She'd complain about the way I did chores, the music I listened to, even the way I dressed. Nothing was ever good enough for her. I tried talking to my dad about it a few times, but he always brushed it off. He'd say things like, "Oh, she's just trying to help you become more responsible," or "I'm sure she doesn't mean it that way." The real problem started about 6 months ago when my dad found out she was pregnant. My stepmom was over the moon about it. She started talking about all these plans for the baby's room and how excited she was to be a mom. I was happy for my dad, but I couldn't help feeling left out. That's when the lies started. My stepmom began telling my dad all these stories about things I supposedly did wrong. She'd say I was staying out late when I wasn't, or that I was being disrespectful to her, which wasn't true. I tried to defend myself, but it was always her word against mine. My dad seemed confused and didn't know who to believe. Last week, my stepmom announced that she wanted to remodel the house to make a nursery for the baby. She started talking about knocking down walls and rearranging rooms. I didn't think much of it at first, but then things took a turn I never expected. 2 days ago, my dad sat me down for a talk. He looked uncomfortable and wouldn't meet my eyes. He said, "Honey, you're 19 now, and you're becoming a man. We think it might be time for you to get your own place." I was shocked. I stammered something like, "What? Why? Did I do something wrong?" He rushed to reassure me. No. It's not that. It's just, well, with the baby coming, we need the space, and you're old enough now to be on your own. It'll be good for you to learn some independence. I could tell by the way he was talking that this wasn't his idea. My stepmom was standing in the doorway, arms crossed with this smug look on her face. That's when I knew she had put him up to this. I tried to argue to explain that I wasn't ready to move out. I'm still in community college, and I work part-time at a local grocery store. There's no way I can afford my own place right now. But my dad just kept repeating that it would be good for me and that I needed to grow up. The worst part came when my stepmom chimed in. She said, "You've got 2 days to find a place. We need to start the remodeling soon, and we can't have you underfoot while we're trying to get ready for the baby." 2 days? How am I supposed to find a place to live in 2 days? I don't have any savings. I don't know the first thing about renting an apartment, and I don't have anyone I can stay with. All my friends still live at home too. I spent all of yesterday in a daze. I couldn't focus at work, and I kept making mistakes. My boss noticed and asked if everything was okay. I just mumbled something about family problems and tried to pull myself together. When I got home, I overheard my dad and stepmom talking in the kitchen. My stepmom was saying something about how it was about time I moved out and how I was holding them back. My dad sounded unsure, but she kept talking over him, saying things like, "You've got to cut the cord sometime, and he'll thank us for this later." I wanted to burst in there and tell them both off, but I knew it wouldn't do any good. My stepmom has my dad wrapped around her finger, and anything I say will just be twisted and used against me. So now I'm sitting here in my room trying to figure out what to do. I've got less than 24 hours to come up with a plan, and I'm completely lost. I can't afford an apartment. I don't have any relatives nearby who could take me in, and I'm not even sure how to start looking for a roommate situation. I've thought about trying to reason with my dad one more time, but I'm afraid it'll just make things worse. My stepmom will probably accuse me of trying to manipulate him or something. I've also considered just refusing to leave, but I don't know what would happen then. Could they legally kick me out? Would they call the police? I don't want to cause a huge scene, but I also don't want to end up homeless. Part of me wants to just pack a bag and leave tonight, but I don't even know where I'd go. I could probably crash on a friend's couch for a night or two, but that's not a long-term solution. I feel like my whole world is falling apart. This is the only home I've ever known, and now I'm being pushed out with no warning and no support. I'm angry at my stepmom for orchestrating this, hurt that my dad is going along with it, and scared about what's going to happen to me. I keep thinking about all the things I'm going to miss, the time I spend with my dad, the familiar creaks of the floorboards, even the stupid arguments with my stepmom. It might not have been perfect, but it was home. And what about the baby? I was actually looking forward to being a big brother, even if it was going to be weird. Now I might not even get to know my little sister or brother. Will my dad and stepmom just pretend I don't exist? I'm trying to stay calm and think logically, but it's hard. Every time I start to make a plan, my mind goes blank with panic. How am I supposed to juggle school, work, and finding a place to live all at once? And even if I do find somewhere, how will I pay for it? I've spent the last few hours scrolling through rental listings online, but everything is so expensive. Even the cheapest studios are way more than I can afford on my part-time salary, and most places want first and last month's rent plus a security deposit. Where am I supposed to get that kind of money? I've thought about dropping out of school to work full-time, but that feels like giving up on my future. I've worked hard to keep my grades up, and I don't want to throw that away. But I don't see how I can keep going to classes if I don't have a place to live. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. This isn't fair. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not a bad kid. I don't drink. I don't do substances. I've never been in trouble with the law. I help out around the house. I get decent grades. I have a job. Why am I being punished? I keep replaying conversations with my stepmom in my head, wondering if I could have done something differently. Maybe if I had stood up to her more or if I had tried harder to bond with her, things would be different.